how to start your Monday morning. Start the fire, boil the water, grind the coffee, add filter, coffee in the filter, water into filter, watch it drip, more water, watch it drip some more, fill your cup, raise your cup, and no. Leave the house and leave it up to the professionals to make the coffee. I'll stick to the conversations. Welcome to Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Hey, good morning. Welcome to Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. This is season 2, episode 71. I cannot believe it. It is the end of March. Where does the time go? Of course, spring break was last week. I had mentioned that I was taking the kids on a little adventure during last week's show. So we went to everyone's asking me, oh, where did you go? We went to the exotic land of Ohio. To say they were thrilled is an understatement. So we went to the water park. It was a lot of fun. It was just fun to get away. So if you called me and I didn't return your phone call, I promise I will call you back this week at some point. So a lot going on, of course, the end of March, end of reading month, the start of so many other things going on next week. We have a couple of new initiatives that we are going to kick off in April, which is April 7th is when we will be announcing those. And of course, we'll announce a new nonprofit as well. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Of course, I am with Connie Smith. And Connie, it's so funny because you are from mainstream media. You were a producer at Fox 2. And now you're in PR, and you have so much behind your resume. I mean, you were a foster kid, and now you're a foster mom, right?
Well, foster turned adoptive mom.
Yes. Okay, so I actually reached out to you because you have a very cool event coming up with Canterbury Village. And Canterbury Village is a lot of fun. If you've never been there, they've got dinosaurs, they've got a lot of walks, and they've got a big walk coming up this week.
Yeah, so Canterbury Village is an amazing place in northern Oakland County in Lake Orion. You just take 75 north, get off at Joslyn Road, hang whatever, you'll get there. So coming up this week, we have a special charity event on Thursday night that kicks off the Alice in Wonderland Lantern Stroll. The installation is produced by a company called Garden of Lights from Poland. Wow. And the company got its start during COVID, where over in Europe, they celebrate their third spaces. The community over there is very communal, and they were missing out on how to get together. And so some artists got together, drew some beautiful renderings of classic fairy tale stories, and had a traditional Chinese lantern company build these lanterns. They're like, when I say lanterns, not paper lanterns in the sky, right? But essentially like lit light sculptures.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a lit walkway too, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's beautiful.
So the Wonderland Stroll will feature over 150 life-size lanterns, 500,000 LED lights, one of the largest light tunnels in the country. So Canterbury, so the light tunnel itself is the largest in the United States that it's ever seen. However, Canterbury doesn't have a path long enough for it, so they have it divided up into really cool sections throughout the property.
Okay, so I think I've seen that when you're watching the video, right?
Yes.
It's like, wow, this looks amazing.
It's amazing. So you'll get to experience all of that. And what Canterbury does that no other place does, of course, they're like, oh, well, we'll see your beautiful European storybook and we'll add some live characters to it. So we'll have the Mad Hatter, the Queen of Hearts, Alice, the Rabbit. So it'll be a great time. And then there's like multimedia panel. So there's a lot of interaction with the exhibit.
And this is age appropriate for anybody.
For anybody.
Right? That's what makes it fun. Those temperatures kind of warming up, right? I mean, we had that bad storm last night, but I mean, the temperatures, it's finally nice to get out and walk around and do something.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like this takes the wild lights at the zoo and then like just ups the ante on it.
For sure.
So no matter what the weather's like, I think it'll be perfect. And whether you want to bring grandma and grandpa out and have little kids, the nice thing about classic storybooks or fairy tales, is that it spans the generations. Right. And that's one of the reasons why Garden of Lights chooses classic fairy tales, is because one way or the other, the story is told over and over and over again.
Right.
So everybody can connect with the story.
No, and that's cool. So of course, you mentioned Thursday night is a special night. And so this is what got me, right?
Oh yeah. So Thursday night. So I am very blessed that my client, Canterbury Village, loves to partner with charities, with the community. Every weekend, they're collecting money for the Village Food Pantry that helps out those in need in Oakland County and beyond. But the owner knows that the foster care community is very near and dear to my heart, as I'm a recent adoptive mom and a child who aged out of the system.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, Connie, please invite every foster child that you know of in Michigan. I was like, yeah, because I have that on my Rolodex. So for the last month, I've been reaching out to different agencies and just want to invite families, supports, workers, foster care workers, anybody in your tribe to come out Thursday night at 7:30.
So let's talk about this a little bit, because you were a foster kid, as you had said, and you had aged out of the system. And when somebody is taking care of a foster child, I mean, budgets can be tight sometimes, I assume, right?
Oh, for sure.
So that is kind of like a bonus of having this event on Thursday as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's a fun night out.
It is a fun night out. I mean, and tickets too are $20 going forward, which I feel like is very appropriate for the event. But when you are a foster parent, you are on a very tight budget. I know a lot of people, you'll hear like, oh, they got into foster care for the money. There is no money in foster care. I mean, there's a little bit, but with inflation and everything.
And you're taking care of all those costs, right?
Yes. I mean, so as a foster parent, you get maybe $200 a year for a clothing allowance. $15 a day is about the average per diem per child. Yes. Okay. So when you go into foster care, you do it out of a kindness and a love in your heart. And whether for some people it's a faith calling, for others it's a human calling, whatever it is, you're doing it because you can and you want to. There's no money to be made in it. So that's why this night is super important and very special to me, because whether you have 20 kids or 5, please come out. And that is a huge savings, because it is, when you are on a budget and you are fostering, you really do have to pick and choose what kind of events you go to. Sometimes you have kids who are special needs and have sensory issues.
Right.
This is be a nice night where it's not super crazy and it's pretty spaced out. So if you do have a child who has some special sensory needs, it's not going to be super loud and crazy.
And overwhelming.
Overwhelming. And I think it's going to be like that pretty much any night. Like, yes, it's going to be bright and beautiful.
Is this open every night of the week, or what's
every
the schedule?
weekend? Every weekend, okay. Yes. So starting, today's Monday. So starting Friday through April 27th. And I believe I didn't get the official memo, but I think it's going to go on for a couple more weeks in May.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up in the foster care system, and then decided to be a foster mom, and then decided to be an adoptive mom.
Yeah.
So kind of tell me about this whole journey.
Oh gosh. So my biological mom was mentally ill, and I was placed in care with one family from 0 to 10. They did the best that they could, but we're aging. I had to go into another home. And the home I ended up with, I mean, both homes were great. I mean, I feel like I am one of the lucky ones who never experienced huge, crazy trauma in the regard to what we hear stereotypical of children.
We do hear a lot of it.
Right. So I do feel very lucky. And I knew that at one point, my husband and I were going to pay it forward. Okay. So, and my mom was just amazing, my foster mom. And my biological mom couldn't help, the hand that she was dealt.
Right.
So my foster mom did a really good job with teaching myself like empathy and how to relate to my biological mom, and maybe what my role was supposed to be in the world. So, which was kind of a big idea as a young adult.
So when did you, how old were you when you realized, hey, you know what, I think my husband and I are going to do this too?
Oh gosh. Well,
was that an ongoing conversation with you guys?
It was ongoing. It was ongoing. So my husband and I are high school sweethearts. And so we got married really young and had our first child at 21, and we went through the licensing process then. And we stopped right up to the point. I'm like, you know what? I think we're not quite ready for this. And I was right.
How old were you?
I was 21.
Really?
Which is nuts. But when you grow up and that's your life, it's very insular, and you see people who are taking care of others all the time. Like, that just felt very second nature, is to be a nurturing.
You're like, this is just what I'm doing.
Just to be a caregiver. Yeah, it was very second nature. But I had a lot of growing up I needed to do. And I also had a career that I really wanted to see where it would take me. So my husband and I both got out of college real early and went right into TV. I mean, I've been working in television since I was 20.
Yeah, and that in itself is a whole thing.
It's a whole
I
thing.
mean, because the hours, I mean, we both know that from major broadcasting.
Yes.
The hours are crazy. The holidays, you're working almost every single one at some point.
Yeah. So and we would stack our shifts so that somebody was always home with kids.
Right.
And I mean, it was a huge blessing, and I don't regret any of it at all. But when my mom passed away in 2016,
Your foster mom?
my foster mom, yeah. So I always called her my mom.
Okay.
And I was never available for adoption. So it's complicated, but so I technically aged out of the system, and she was a senior citizen. So when I aged out and graduated high school, she had to sell her home right away and live in a senior citizen community because of her health.
Okay.
So I really, truly have been on my own since I was 18. And when I was ready to, and I knew that she would want me to do this, and I really just felt like it was our time, we started the licensing journey in 2018. Received our first placement in 2019. And at this point, we already had 3 biological children.
Okay.
And so 1 level easy, so we said, turned into like level whatever, and 3.
Right.
So
how do they react with your foster child?
Oh gosh, everybody was on board. Like this whole concept was never novel to them. They grew up knowing that family is who you choose, not necessarily who you're born to.
Right.
So, and even when you're born to a family, you still have to make a choice every single day.
Right. Am I calling you back? I don't know.
Right, exactly. It's a choice that you make. And my kids were all about it. I mean, we just were born into a civil servant type household.
That is so cool. Okay, so you have the foster child.
Yes. So JC.
Yes.
I have JC, John, in Princeton. So our family range is, my oldest is 23 and she's an RN. I have one in culinary school who wants to teach others how to farm sustainable and develop recipes for those who are on any budget. So again, I bred some civil servants.
Nice. Love that.
So, and then I have 4 in elementary school, and my youngest is 5. Then we go 7, 8, and then 11.
Okay, so wait, I lost count. How many kids
6.
are there?
I have 6 total.
6 total.
Yeah. I lose count.
You're like, which one are you? Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So the adoption was just final not too long ago.
A National Adoption Day, November 26th. And we had a big, oh my gosh, this was crazy. So we had been waiting. Our kids had been with us for 5 years, 6 years, depending on which ones, because it was 2 different placements. And we had been waiting for our adoption for months. And it was just such a long process. So we get the call that's going to be National Adoption Day at the big Oakland County courthouse. And then my husband has emergency surgery the day before.
No.
Yeah. So he had to Zoom in for us. So that was like one blessing from COVID, is that we learned that you can Zoom in for court.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That's a bonus. That is, okay. So you finally get to that day. Your husband is in the hospital.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But he's zooming in.
He's zooming in. And then just the whole holiday season was such a blur. But we had a really cool adoption party at Canterbury Village.
Okay.
So we hired a DJ. I highly suggest hiring a DJ for any kid event just because. Like, it was the money, it was so worth it.
Right.
Yeah. It was
So
a great time.
how are you feeling now? Everyone in their zone?
Yeah. It took a while. Like, our last name is Smith, and the kids are like, oh, we don't want to be another Smith. And I'm like, I don't blame you. I didn't want to be another Smith either. But at least we kind of just blend in and can fly under the radar a little bit. Everybody's doing really good. And, we have a great support system around us.
You guys went to Disney, didn't you?
We did.
Yeah.
So our adoption celebration trip was at Disney World, and it was a great time.
What do you say to parents out there who might be considering fostering or even adopting?
I say just do it. It's not easy. None of it's easy. It's very challenging, but it's going to be the most worthwhile thing you've ever done in your life. Like, think about your career or any of the purchases that you make. Nothing's going to top making the choice to love somebody else. It's the most rewarding, challenging action you can make. But nothing's going to top that at all. It's extremely hard, but so worth it.
So talking about the hard part, what do you think is the hardest part of that?
The hardest part, in all honesty, is going through the foster care system. There's a lot of checks and balances for good reason. But when you are a working professional and you have children and have kids in school, and say those kids have some special needs, there's a lot of appointments, court hearings, having your home open to
at any time,
to
right?
social worker visits. So that is the most humbling part, is knowing that you have to take a back seat to your life and be an open book and be humble about it is one of the hardest parts for me. For me personally, somebody who really likes control, as a former TV producer, I like control, like down to like, we've got
down
30
to the
seconds.
Second.
Yes, down to the second. So having to relinquish control was the hardest part for myself and for my husband too. So, and I think for my older girls as well.
I was just going to ask you.
That was the hardest part for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're a multiracial family as well. And, that presents its own challenges, but not in a way you would think. Okay. So we definitely surround ourselves we have a lot of beautiful Black friends and community members, and we had to make some choices along the way too, to make sure that we are really integrating ourselves in Black culture.
And I'm sorry, the child you just adopted?
3 of them.
3 of them, right?
Yeah.
So what are their names?
JC, John, and Princeton.
Okay. Are they siblings?
Yes.
Okay. So you kept them together.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm clapping for that.
Oh, thanks.
Seriously, that is amazing. And how's their sibling rivalry?
Oh my gosh, they're all 15 months apart. If they're not touching each other, I'm like, are you guys alive?
Like this, like this, like this, like this.
Yes. Shoving somebody into a wall. He touched me. He's on the video game too long. They're so annoying.
But you love them so much.
I do. It's so funny because my son, one of my sons has oppositional defiance disorder. And that's a symptom of ADHD and trauma. And there's nothing you can do about it except for just love them and give them positive reinforcement. And sometimes he's like, bleh. But then this morning he's like, bye, Mom. Oh, wait, I need a kiss.
Oh, I love that.
In front of everybody. He doesn't care. He's a big tough guy too. He doesn't care. He's like, I need a kiss.
And you're like, okay.
Okay.
And then he pulls his sister's hair.
Right. And I'm like, but that one kiss just made it all worth it.
It did, right?
Yeah.
That is amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. And I just think that what you do is amazing. And you don't know this actually, but I guess you actually started it off for me because I'm starting this new segment called Where Are They Now? For people who have been in the local media.
Oh, wow.
And so I guess you are the first official guest.
Here I am.
Here you are. So you transitioned to PR.
I did. And PR was the answer to what am I going to do with this crazy life now that I have all these kids?
Right.
So I really loved my time in the media. I may go back someday. I may not. I don't know. But what I do know is that High Five PR, the company that I created and founded, has helped me take care of my family. And also I'm able to amplify the voices of other small business owners. I particularly try to work with the minority sector as well, because I felt like as a journalist, their voices weren't represented enough. So I try to do what I can and pay the bills. I mean, it's simple as that.
All we can do, right?
Right.
It's all we can do. So if you had one thing about being in the media business and having left it somewhat, I mean, it's a different role that we're both playing now, right? What is your takeaway?
Well, my takeaway is that I applaud my brothers and sisters in the media, and I hope that they continue to tell stories with fact and unbiased and keep up the good fight, because as we know, broadcast journalism is going away all over the world. I just watched a report in 60 Minutes last night about Voice of America going away.
Yeah.
And it just really saddens me, because this is the one way that we connect. It's through storytelling, through journalism, and all of the different mediums. But television news is something that brings us all together, whether you like it or hate it. It just does. And people give their lives to give you facts.
Yes.
So just keep up the good fight.
Okay, one more question.
Yes.
I ask everyone this. If you were to meet your younger self for coffee, what would you tell her?
Oh my gosh. I would tell her to go get therapy.
Really?
I would. You know what? I went through my entire life without any therapy because mental health was not a big conversation until maybe 15 years ago or so. So I would tell her to go to therapy.
And take a coffee with her, right?
Yeah. Oh, 15. Wait. Yeah, my younger self. I'm like 15 years ago, I was still an adult. No, my younger self, I would tell her, you're doing great and go to therapy.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So for anyone watching who might need some PR, how do they reach you?
Highfivepr.com. And you can find me on all the social media channels.
High five. Thanks, girl.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Connie. Okay, well, as you know, it is the end of March. March has been reading month, of course. And personally, I have been reading the whole the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And there's so many books, but you will be surprised at where you can actually find books, like at the grocery store. Let's watch. Okay, so March is reading month. I am with Sandy Irwin. She was the director of the Royal Oak Library. And did you know that you can actually get books at Woodward Corners grocery store? So she's going to show me just how easy it is. Okay,
right. So your library card's right there on the app. Oops. I made it disappear. So go ahead and scan that barcode.
All right.
The door unlocked. All right, grab a couple of books.
Okay. Oh gosh, I feel like I'm like
like you're shopping.
Like I'm shopping.
You are shopping for books.
Let's see. Brave New You. Can I grab more than one?
Yes, you can.
Is there a limit to what?
We ask that people only check out 5 so they don't empty the machine.
Okay, got it. All right. I don't have little kids, but this is cute. Okay. All right. So now what do I do?
Now I want you to shut the door.
Okay. I'm shutting the door. Okay.
Now the door is shut, it is running an inventory, and what it's doing is reading the RFID tags that are in the back, or radio frequency tags. And the little separators in the machine are checking the inventory of everything that was in the machine. And it says, look, you have checked out 3 items. And
that
then you can
is
say,
crazy.
Receipt or not.
Okay. So then it just flipped. And how long can you keep a book?
3 weeks.
Okay, so 3 weeks.
Yes.
Overdue fees?
No overdue fees from the Royal Oak Public Library.
My mom is still getting overdue fees from mine when I was a kid. This is so awesome. And of course, anytime the store's open, this is available.
Yes, it is.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I got to get to reading.
All right. Thank you. Good luck.
And again, a big thank you to Woodward Corners and Sandy Irwin, the director of the Royal Oak Library, of course, and Royal Oak is actually where we are. We are in downtown Royal Oak at Every Media. We will talk to the man behind the curtain coming up in just a little while, Dean, who owns Every Media. He will be coming on. But first, we have a vet who has been with us all month long. Yes. So excited because every month I thought it was important to feature a nonprofit and to do it for a month because that raises awareness in many different ways. And Yvette, I have asked you this every time. I have never been brave enough to say the name of your nonprofit. I make you say it every time in full transparency. What is it?
Shine a Car for the Paws.
Shine a Car for the Paws.
Yes,
I
definitely.
said it.
Yay,
High five. Yay, finally.
Definitely.
Only 4 weeks, right? And of course, Chris Powell is with us as well. And Chris is the president of the Colin Rose Foundation. And I thought that it was super important to have you both on together because of course, you are all about raising awareness and raising money and donations for canines.
For canines, yes.
And of course, Colin Rose, he was a canine officer. Yes. And so, Yvette, will you tell me, first of all, for anyone who doesn't know what you do, what you and your husband do, explain the nonprofit to us.
What we do is we raise funds for canine officers, any type of supplies, vital training equipment, anything that's needed. They'll contact us and say, hey, we need this, we need a bite sleeve, we need training equipment, they need a vest, a training harness, and we'll supply that equipment for them.
And you travel, you just got back from Vegas a
Right.
couple weeks ago, and you and your husband are kind of all in on this.
Oh, definitely. We just went to a training with a bunch of officers from all over, and we showed them the little guardian angel. Some officers did have them, and some officers want them. Mm-hmm. So we put in an order for like 8 of them right now to distribute to the officers, and that's a protection for them. And it's a personal preference too. The guardian angel they wear on the shoulder.
Right, you had showed
yes.
the lighting and all that.
Right, and then some of the monster toys that they liked, and the master trainer looked at it and said, oh, that's a good one.
Right.
So we ordered a bunch of those too for them. And again, that's out-of-pocket expenses that the officers have to pay. So we'd like to do that, for them and help them out.
And this nonprofit is going on 1 year, a year and a half?
About a year and a half right now. So
Okay.
going on 2 years. It'll be 2 years in September.
Okay.
So, and we've already given away $17,000 worth of equipment.
That is amazing. And you just bought a dog, didn't you?
So we're buying a dog for Shelby Township. So they're still in the process of picking it out.
Oh.
Hopefully they'll get it out. They'll get it by the fall.
Okay.
And get it into the fall police academy. So
that is so funny that these canines, they have to go through the police academy and they have a badge and everything,
Yes,
right?
yes.
It is amazing. So Chris, you are the president of the Colin Rose Foundation. And I had told you this in the email, and I was anchoring when news broke that an officer had been shot at Wayne State University. Yeah. And I know that he was engaged. And when, at the time I was co-anchoring with Greg, who was my husband at the time, and my son has always wanted to be a police officer since he was 2. And so I was following this very closely. So when Greg texted me and told me that Colin had died, I remember just like sitting there crying in the bedroom with my, my kids, thinking, oh, I just, you just can't believe it. And you're his best friend.
Yeah.
And so kind of, I know his birthday's tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this has been a long 8 years.
Yeah, he's been gone over 3,000 days now, and
Okay.
He's still with us every day, in spirit, and it's been a long journey, and he's still relevant, and his family still misses him every day.
Of course.
It's been a journey. So.
And he was an officer who supported other officers.
He was. Yeah.
And one thing I've read about him continually is that he always smiled.
He was always at the center of a picture, and had the biggest grin in the picture. He was a smiler for that. So.
So as far as the canines, because he had Wolverine.
Yeah, he was working with two canines at the time of his death, and Wolverine was a dog that he had just gotten placed with earlier that year, who was trained in detecting explosives, and the other dog that he had was named Clyde, who was a narcotics dog and protection. So those were the 2 dogs with him when he was killed.
And as a vet, as she's explained these last couple weeks, that these officers are, they take them home. They are family.
Yeah. So like I said, Colin and his fiance had to register their house at one point as a kennel,
Really?
where they lived, because they had so many dogs, and they were actively involved in fostering with the Detroit Dog Rescue, and the process there with dogs is what brought those 2 together, the shared love of canines. And Colin was, as a handler, he had to figure out what gear he needed, and important thing for him was having safety gear for his dogs, and that was one of the missions we had initially, was getting the donations out to similar canine safety organizations, and in his obituary, that was a suggested place where people could fund, and the dogs that were out there looking for his killer that night were protected because of those campaigns, and the gear that it's important to be able to have a bag, to provide trauma gear to a dog. Most dogs are stabbed by bad guys. They're not necessarily shot. If you're trying to shoot the dog, you're trying to shoot the handler. But a lot of them are blunt objects that are so having the ability to have a bag with gear there to get you to an emergency vet, to have you a chance to recover, it's a hard thing. So.
And you, the foundation, so he died in 2016.
Yes.
And the foundation started in 2017.
Yes, it did. Somehow it's going on 8 years, and it's he's still with me every day, but I'm kind of in this. How do you, we were both engaged to get married when he was killed, and here I am now, a father of 3, and married myself, and it's just. He's Uncle Colin to them, my girls, but it's still tough knowing that he's not here, a part of the journey, and to see what his life could have become.
And you guys do so much good, though, through the foundation. I know there's a scholarship program that started, and I know it closes tomorrow.
Yeah.
But who's eligible for that?
Well, you have to be a Michigan resident, and that we've given scholarships to people going to the police academy. Our criteria is there because Colin wasn't the best student. He did just enough to be able to play sports.
He went to Ferris, right?
Yeah, he was at Ferris for his undergrad and his police academy, and he had traveled around a little bit, but he went to high school in Gull Lake out there outside of Kalamazoo. So.
Okay. So not the best student, but he got it done.
Yeah.
Right? And did he always want to be a police police officer?
Yeah,
do
it
you
was.
know?
I was in his. He just was always wanting to chase taillights and be out there doing it. And his dream came true as a canine handler. And I was so proud of him. Like I said, I still have the draft email that he had sent. For putting in his letter of interest in my email. I was like, hey, I was like a big brother to him on top of being his best friend. It was like a lot of help me make sure the grammar is okay, and the same thing I do with my actual brother. So.
Right. So have you always wanted to be in the law enforcement field?
I my first calling was actually we were talking about with media. I was actually a newspaper reporter by calling, and I was working at a daily paper in Ohio, and I was covering the cops beat, and that's where my bug came from. I was covering I think 18 different police departments and covering breaking news, and I got the bug on that and relocated to Michigan, and been on the job now going on 17 years.
There's something about that breaking news, right?
was.
That we all are like, it's that adrenaline rush, and it's so funny. I always say, well, I would have gotten my law degree because I watch Law and Order so much, right? Not the best student, but what are you going to do? Yeah. So what do you say to aspiring to kids out there who do aspire to be in law enforcement?
It's still a noble, honorable profession, and we need good police officers out there who can talk and empathize and relate to what's going on. The world has changed so much, in the last 10 years, just for me, and you look at everything that's come about, and it's still an honorable profession. There's still a chance to help. A lot of what we do isn't taking somebody away or chasing bad guys. It's helping somebody in crisis and work through. And a lot of people just have questions that need answers, and we're always on duty. We're always rolling around. So the things that we've gotten called to over the years that you never thought you would be, having to think on your feet to help somebody through something, but that's what we do.
That's what you do, right? What so Yvette, so what do you think of, I just thought it was so cool that you two could meet because of the canine aspect and the fact that she raises, money and to help these canines and their officers, because as you know, there's this bond between them, but there's also a financial need.
Yeah, right. It's the budgets for canine programs are small. A lot of communities, depend on charity to get it done. Some communities, they will partner with another organization in town to handle the maintenance of it, the veterinary bills, the feed. Those are the things that we'll do that on top of the handlers having to come out of pocket for gear. Gear breaks, it wears down, gets lost, unfortunately. You leave something on the roof of a car, or you leave it at like your training session. So and it wears down. So and you're in the field and you're chasing people in mud, and stuff gets dirty, and these things don't get cleaned as easily as as a uniform shirt does. So
what does it take? It must take a special officer to be a canine officer as well, with all the training that goes in.
It comes home with you at the end of the day.
Right? You just can't do that separation thing.
Yeah.
See you later, honey. I'm going home.
No.
And it's a bond for life. You're with the dog, into retirement, and then you have that adjustment. A lot of the dogs that we've helped out with gear and that they're coming up on retirement age now, and here it is. Colin's been gone over 3,000 days, and the dogs that he was working with have retired, and some have passed, and it's just there's a new generation coming, but they still need the same help and assistance. So.
Do you think that there's an uptick for canines? That people there's more of a need for canines now?
I think it's the same need. You still have bomb threats where dogs are needed to clear an event space where those threats have come in, and the same public safety threats are out there where you need it. What people are smuggling stuff in the prison, so it's changed what you can imprint a dog on, and it's really neat to see what the different specialties there are now, I never. You asked me 10 years ago, would they be training dogs on vape pens and stuff? We didn't even know what they were.
You
then.
didn't even know, right? It'd be like,
but
what
here
is
they are.
that?
There's dogs that are doing that in the schools.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and the therapy dogs that are in the schools now, I know my twins, they are in the Berkeley district, and there's a therapy dog that I guess they can make an appointment with.
Yeah, I mean,
but just the idea of being, these calming presence, and no matter how bad your day has been, or, you see this beautiful animal, and it just like lets you take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just amazing what all of you guys do. So thank you. And you've got a big bowling event coming
Yes.
up. Super excited. I just realized that I will be able to join you.
Super.
wonderful.
Yeah, so that's coming up. So tell us about that.
Yep, April 12th, it's at Bowl 1 in Troy. And we heard that Thorvey from Royal Oak
Oh,
will be there.
Really?
So yeah, and she's beautiful. She'll give lots of hugs and,
Oh, very
and
cool.
pets, and still some of the warrant officers will be there. They don't know which one.
Okay.
So
they all get
yeah.
along. All these canines get along.
Some do.
Oh.
Some don't. Some yeah.
Really?
Oh yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Some do. Some don't.
Okay.
So but yeah. So it'll be fun. Now lots of baskets, lots of donations. We're wrapping up all the baskets and getting them ready to go, and all
Awesome.
the duckies, and so yeah, it'll be lots of fun. So and come bowl, or if you don't want to bowl, come have some pizza, get the baskets and
Meet the canines
Yes,
and-
meet the canines.
and hang out?
They'll be ready for you. Yes.
Exactly.
Yep. April 12th from noon to 3.
Okay, what's the website for you guys?
It's forthepaws.org.
Okay.
So yes, definitely. So,
Okay, so I've asked Yvette this the last 3 weeks because she has a heads up on this. You heard me ask Connie this. I'm going to ask you. So if you were to meet your younger self for coffee, what would you tell him?
Oof, that was a good one. I think it'd be buckle up and be prepared for things to take longer than you expected to find your way. But it's out there, and it's. I never thought it would take me as long to meet my wife as it did, but here I am, blessed with a wonderful family and
three
yeah,
kids?
three
Girls?
3 girls.
oh
So,
goodness.
it's been like I said, we just got them back to school today, so it's
It's like high five, right?
yeah.
All around.
Indeed. So,
High fives all around. And again, for someone who is thinking about going into law enforcement, whether they're little or in college and just thinking about it, what's your advice to them?
I mean, I tell everybody, as did Colin, go do a ride along, see what it's all about, see the calls that we go on, and it's not all just TV, but a lot of what you see on TV is what we do, but it's an honorable profession, and we need good people out there. So if it's something you're interested in, you can talk to people, you can multitask. It's something to look at, and it's worthwhile. I mean, you don't want to rush into something early too. Like I got in a little late. Like I said, coming from another profession, and I think that helped with that. I mean, the more life you have under you, the better you are going to be as an officer. Though I know for me,
That makes sense.
getting married, having children, my demeanor and ability to relate to the people certainly
And
helped.
empathy
Yeah.
too, right? Because all of a sudden you're understanding
Yeah.
things from a different level.
Yep. So.
What is one thing you want people to remember about Colin?
Like I said, he cared about people, cared about dogs, so much about dogs, and like I said, he just. He would love that opening days around the corner, coming up. He loved going to Tigers games, and the spring was just his season. He loved it. Like I said, we would do a bike ride every year called the Police Unity Tour, and we'd be training for that.
And you are doing that,
I am,
right?
yeah.
You
So
are.
it'll be my 10th ride. So spring was just he loved spring, and he loved bringing people together, and that's the good thing we get to do through our organization is reunite old coworkers, old fraternity brothers. He was his fraternity president at Ferris, so he brought people together, and that's he continues to do that in death. So
For sure. And so the scholarship closes tomorrow, which is his birthday.
Yep.
And then there's a golf outing which is already on a waiting list.
Yeah, so we do a golf outing every July. So it's usually the third Monday in July. Just how July fell this year, it's a week earlier. So that's coming up. And we also did a bourbon pick with Penelope, and it'll be available this spring. I don't know when the bottling's is going to be done, but it'll be done locally here in Berkeley at is it Mug and Jug? Is that the
yeah.
So they that'll be something for everybody to pick up. So we're I don't know what the final count's going to be on the number of bottles, but one of our board members went down and did the hand selection.
That's
so
cool.
it's looking forward to trying it, and
Right.
it'll be available. We'll put the details out on our Facebook page and website when we know.
Okay, perfect. And real quick, so I do another show called After Dark. It's more about, relationships, and it's usually out in different restaurants. And I was at Tony's at Fifth Avenue the day of the golf outing, and he was late. He was at but he did bring me back a tea.
Oh, wonderful.
So that was nice.
Yeah, they've been a consistent golfer and sponsor, and they've been really good to have in the fold. So
No, it's awesome, and it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And letting us know. How do people find more information about the foundation?
So it's Colin Rose Memorial. Colin was spelled with 2 L's. That's been the one thing I've spent the most time correcting people on, is everybody wants it to be 1 L. So it's ColinRoseMemorial.org, and it's Officer Colin Rose Memorial Foundation on Facebook.
Okay, so follow, and donations can be made.
Yeah, we're a nonprofit organization. That's how we do things, is to we take donations and funnel it where the need is. I mean, we've supported a lot of survivors along the way. We've done different things to help with the need when that happens. It's part of what we do is throw our support there, and a lot of that is just being often a pass through for donations for families, and we've been able to help out a lot of people around the state and country. So it's kind of been a mission of love to really keep Colin's name alive and help others. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Like I said, I've never forgot. You just never. There's some stories, as you know, Connie, and you know too. You just never forget, because you know the life behind it. Right?
Absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, well, as a former anchor, and I do get the chance to go out and moderate events sometimes, and be a panelist and all of that. And it's very funny. I am going to be, April 9th, I am going to be at the Clinton Macomb Public Library. They asked me to speak going from mainstream media to digital, which is kind of a cool thing. So I will be there. That is from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30. It is a free event, and I just found out that people will be able to ask me questions. So won't that be fun? And Brian Goodrow, he is amazing. He kind of heads up this DBG Social Connection. He hosted a comedy night last week. That was for a dog rescue. And that was lots of fun. So follow them on Facebook. You can find out all of the things that they're hosting. In fact, don't just follow him on Facebook. Follow me on Facebook. Follow everyone on Facebook, right? Of course, we are here at Every Media. I don't know where Dean is. He's always wandering around somewhere.
I'm right here.
Okay, come on, man. He's all, I'm right here. Oh, what happened to your adulting suit?
I want to be comfortable. I took off the monkey suit.
He was in a suit not
Took the
too
monkey
long
suit
ago.
off.
What's going on, man?
Nothing, man. Working. Doing my usual.
All right, so this is Dean Beans.
Hi, all.
So he is actually the owner of Every Media, which is where we are, this new studio.
Yeah.
And it is phenomenal. So
I'm glad you like it.
Thank you so much.
It's a labor of love.
It is a labor of love.
Yeah.
And that is what we were talking about last week, because you were kind of talking about how this all came to be, because it is an amazing place with all these different studios.
Yeah.
But you started in your car almost, right? Or
No. I ended up in, okay. Let me give you the short version. So I'm a musician. I'm an artist, and I was going overseas touring a lot. And 2 things happened. The pandemic happened, and I went paralyzed for like 2.5 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So for those who want to be vegan, make sure you get B12, because if you don't, you won't be able to walk.
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, my friends was carrying me and stuff. It was crazy.
no.
But we figured it out. I'm here. We good. But while the pandemic was going on and I was paralyzed, I was streaming with this little box, this little white Box by Roland. I was streaming and it just kind of let my hands fall on the keys to type. And I kind of fell in love with streaming. This guy did a DJ set like through almost all of the pandemic, and I told all of the local artists, send me your unreleased music, and I'm gonna do a live DJ set. So I did a live DJ set, and I fell in love with streaming a little more. And I couldn't go on tour because of the pandemic.
Right.
And I told my partner who I make music with, I said, hey, let's get a building for the studio so we can make music and try to do it in the house. So we got the building, and I looked around and I said, I don't want to pay for this. He was like, I won't pay for it neither. I was like, well, we got to figure out something. And I was like, I think this streaming thing is going to get a little bigger than what it's been, because everybody was just using real cheap equipment.
Right.
We bought the cheap equipment, and I said, we look like everybody else. No, we got to be better. Can't say this on television.
Yeah, don't say it.
What's the word? Poop. Let's see what's poop. Mission poop on everybody, right? Like, just be better than everybody who was doing this stuff.
Right.
So instead of studying podcast studios, I started studying television studios, and I was like obsessed with David Letterman's show on Netflix, or the quality of it. And so I just started learning film and buying stuff and selling stuff. And then I hit a point where my money got cut short, because I bought a lot of this stuff mounting TVs.
Okay.
But then I guess I mounted everybody's TV because it just stopped.
It was all done.
Yeah, the money just went away, and I said, well, I still got to fund it. So I said, well, what don't I need? I said, well, I know what I don't want. People say you need it, but how about I just don't have a place to stay no more?
Really?
Just gave up the apartment, gave away clothes, gave away the furniture, sold a couple things, and all you need is food and shelter.
Right.
I looked at my car. I said, look like shelter to me.
Really?
And I just said, I'll just sleep in the car and I'll document it. So I started filming myself learning how to car camp.
Okay.
And it's like so many things you can do. You can cook in the car.
Is that safe?
Yes. It's this little bag, right, with a hot plate in it.
Okay.
And you put your meal prep thing in it. You plug it in the cigarette lighter. You drive for about 45 minutes. You got a cooked meal.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Okay.
And these are things that truck drivers know about.
Right.
But us regular people, we're not really privy to that kind of thing. So I'm learning that, and then it's wintertime. Michigan is different than California.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm at the surplus store trying on sleeping bags to see what's good, and they got sleeping bags where it can be like 50 degrees below zero and you're comfortable.
Hey man, I go camping with my kids with Scouts. I know.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So it was more like an adventure for me. But then all of the money that I would have spent on rent, I was able to buy more equipment and keep funneling it into the business. So I started this with roughly about $6,000.
Wow.
6 figures later, we got all of this, and that's just from grinding and cutting corners and stuff. Yeah. So that's that story.
So that's that story. That's the car story.
That's the car story. Yeah.
Well, so it's very funny because I've been when the show started, I was out in the community, different locations, coffee shops and restaurants, and then moved to my Michigan TV in Troy, their studios. Then went to Imagine in Birmingham. And then Johnny from Alchemy, the chef there, was like, hey, there's been a studio next door to me all these years.
He didn't know.
He did not know. So then he sent me your link, and I was like, I saw the screen. And I was like, I need that screen. It is all about the screen.
Yeah.
So for you, you have a podcast studio, you can do you can do music here, you can do a lot of stuff here.
Do everything you want to do here. I feel like mainstream media controls too many narratives to tell us what to think, is make us hate each other. And we, the actual people who enforce all of the BS, we're the ones doing the BS because of the messages we're giving. I feel like we needed a place where we can give our own messages out. So we can hear from the horse's mouth. I don't have a problem with you. I don't have a problem with you. Oh, it's him saying that we all need to do something to him, right? So I just felt like it needed to be the people need to have the same amount of bandwidth and quality that national TV has, so that the other people would want to pay attention to. So here we are.
Here we are. And media, as we all know, has changed. You from a newspaper, right? And you from Fox, me from radio. All of us, different avenues, and it has changed so much. And for people who said, oh, well, streaming, digital, that's just, that's going to be just a quick hit.
Exactly.
Not so much.
I had somebody was interviewing Priya Man in here, and I was like, oh, I can't wait. I got somebody from the news in here so they can tell me what I'm doing wrong or what I need. And so I asked her, what else do I need? She said, we need to be asking you what we need because we don't have this stuff. I'm like,
Yep.
I didn't realize that the news stations, I get it. They spent so much money on the equipment they have.
Millions.
They're not buying new stuff.
No.
But in not buying the new stuff, you don't have the new technology. So two of us can run this entire show, where at a news station, you have somebody manning every station. And yeah, so it kind of tripped me out. Because I didn't know.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the same question. You've heard it all. We've been here 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't roll your
What
eyes
would I
at me,
tell
man.
my younger self?
Stop rolling your eyes. And this coming. What's your favorite kind of coffee?
I don't have a favorite kind.
Because you
actually.
don't even drink it.
I barely.
How is that possible?
I barely drink it. When I do drink coffee,
When I'm here?
when I'm sleepy and I need to get up,
Okay.
I'll drink some coffee. Put a lot of sugar and cream in it. 'Cause
Right.
Black
That's
is like,
not coffee.
how do y'all do that? How? But what would I tell to
Yep.
my younger self?
What would you tell me?
I would say, man, you about to have a lot of stories to tell. Boy, you about to go for a ride. Just ride it. Don't change nothing. All of the bad stuff, all of the good stuff, it's gonna make you something different. So just ride it and enjoy it. And don't forget the stuff because it's good stories.
I think that's part of it. From my career from California when I was a traffic reporter to here, I didn't save a lot of mementos really. And now, every card I get, I'm like, oh, gotta save that, it's a memory. It's does it make you legitimate that you have this note, thanking you from doing this panel or moderating something? It's very interesting because I wasn't big on keeping that stuff. And now I'm like, I'm never giving away another radio t-shirt again.
Yeah. Everybody is here for a purpose. Well, a couple purposes. One, I think every species on the planet has to have a contribution to the ecosystem. Humans, we the only ones who don't do what we're supposed to do, but we're supposed to contribute to the ecosystem. And the second is to live a full life, get the most out of this planet you could possibly get. So whether it's saving stuff or having a good story or writing your name on a wall on somebody's building and they get mad, leave your mark. Some way, shape, or form.
We do have some police officers here.
I can still run, though.
You can.
Part of the best stories are people sending me pictures or where there's a Collins sticker or somebody scribbled, his name and badge number.
Right.
I still get stuff sent to me from.
Did you know that's a felony?
So,
Malicious destruction of personal property.
It's a felony?
Yep. I got caught spray painting as a kid. I was painting graffiti. And they told me, it's a felony, right? I was like, what?
Oh.
Guess I'm not going to do this no more. Cause, I don't want that.
You're like, that's okay. I'll just put my name on signs now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Lit up
I learned how to
signs.
do graphic design. So.
There you go.
So there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. So real quick, not a vet, but the Connie, Chris, or Dean, pick a number between 1 and 3.
2.
3.
I guess one's left, right?
Okay. Here. The number was 1. It's a caffeinated conversation coffee cup.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And Yvette, because you have been our nonprofit, this is for you.
All
right.
Thank you.
There might be a book in there about coffee because it's reading month.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate
So
that.
I just, thank you, all of you, so much for, for making time to come here every week, Yvette. And,
I appreciate
and you,
that.
well, you're here anyway.
You're a great client. I appreciate you.
No, thank you. And,
Yeah.
and Chris, a pleasure to meet you. I don't
too.
know that we'd ever actually met in person. I think we may have spoken on the phone. And Connie, we ran into each other at Folio for the first time, our co-working space.
Yeah.
After all the years of being in mainstream media. But
It's just kind of passing each
Yep,
other,
just
right?
passing each other always. So thank you so much for telling your story. Canterbury Village opens to the public on Friday.
Yes.
Okay.
CanterburyVillage.com.
All right. Get those tickets. That'll be so much fun. And if there was an adoptive parent or a foster parent that wanted to take their kids out there on Thursday, how do they?
Oh, yes. High5pr.com. Just hit my website up and drop me a message. Just send me an email. I'll respond right away with everything you need to know.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, thanks, man.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it. Thank you to all of you. And this has been season 2, episode 71.
Wow.
And I know,
71.
right?
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Congrats.
And we'll be back next week. It will be April. Unbelievable. In the meantime, keep the coffee hot. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Is that it?
That's it. Oh, wow. Great job.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Do you have your card?
Yes.
Or, no. Okay. Make sure I have your information. Thank you. Good people need to partner with people. Appreciate that. I don't think I looked at the camera at all, so you probably got a lot of profile shots. Is this 2 different names, or what's the...
China car. It's my last
fun.
name and my husband's last name.
Ah,
Yeah. So yeah.
I know, right?
And my husband works at Ford's, and he popped in. My husband popped in.
Was that him?
He's there.
I didn't know you
I'm
were
not dressed for the
here.
occasion. He probably smell like oil.
He just popped in from Livonia.
Oh,
So.
I wish I would have known you were coming.
Oh no, I didn't. So,
Did you know, or you didn't know?
No, he drove from Livonia.